Welcome to Accounting 101. Today I would like us to look at advantages and disadvantages of Labor Relations Act. The first positives or advantages with regard to the Labor Relations Act is that it ensures the participation of all parties in the collective bargaining process, which reduces conflict in the workplace, meaning that both parties are able to have a relationship, a formal business relationship. The employer will have its own representatives and employees will have trade unions. So both they will participate in making sure that conflict is being reduced in the workplace. Secondly, it protects the rights of the business and employer organizations in labor-related issues. So the Labor Relations Act does not only protect the rights of employees, but it also protects the rights of an employer. So both are being protected by this act. So even the rights of the business or the rights of the employer or employer organizations who are representing the business when it comes to decision making or negotiations, they are also protected by this act. Thirdly, it promotes quick and less expensive labor dispute resolutions, meaning that some issues or some labor disputes can be solved without going to labor courts, meaning that the employer or the organization will bring its own employer organizations, then employees will bring their trade unions. So it is easy, or it promotes quick and less expensive labor disputes, because it also gives, or rather it firstly gives both parties a room where they are able to do some negotiations and finally come up with resolutions. It prevents unfair discrimination in the workplace. The Labor Relations Act promotes equal opportunities. It promotes the issue of where employees are treated in the same manner, or even if it's not in the same manner, but a fair discrimination, or even if there are differences, but those differences are not based in an unfairly manner. Lastly, let us look at the negatives or disadvantages of the Labor Relations Act. The Labor Relations Act may reduce the global competitiveness of the business due to lower workplace productivity. It means that the rules or the implementation of the Labor Relations Act may reduce how we produce here in South Africa, simply because we are trying by all means to abide, or the companies are trying by all means to abide to this particular act. As a result, the productivity or the number of products that are being produced here in South Africa, or rather your GDP, is lower compared to the other countries' GDPs, due to the implementation of Labor Relations Act. Because we'll find that some countries are using more automation, while here in South Africa we need to employ more people to reduce what? The unemployment rate. Secondly, decreased profitability of business, or rather of businesses, because of a decline in productivity and sales. Let's make an example. You will find that when employees decide to go on strike, what will happen? The profit will decrease and the sales will decrease, simply because these particular employees, they are exercising their rights. They are making sure that their demands are being met, or rather, yes, their demands, they are being met. So during that particular period of a strike, these particular companies will suffer, because it will be a strike on a legal basis where employees are demanding whatever that they need from the employer. Then thirdly, productivity may decrease significantly if employees engage in trade unions related activities during work hours. So you will find that some employees will be representing the other employees when it comes to trade union issues. You will have some representatives that will need to go and attend these particular meetings, which will negatively impact the productivity of the business because they will not be in the workplace, or they will be missing or absent when it comes to productivity, or when it comes to doing their duties, just because they are fulfilling their duties of being part or representing the other employees when it comes to trade union related meetings. Fourthly, the implementation of the Labor Relations Act may also be very costly and time consuming, especially the dispute resolution process. So, Labor Relations Act is introducing procedures that will need to be followed up until a resolution, or up until the dispute has been resolved. So all those processes, they are time consuming. Remember, during this stage, there is no productivity, or there is less productivity. So the company or companies in total, they are suffering during this period simply because the demands of the employees are not yet met, and productivity suffers significantly. Then, lastly, the employment or the implementation of legal specialists and labor consultants increases the cost of the business. So, the company will need to employ legal specialists when it comes to dispute resolutions, and they'll also need to employ labor consultants regardless of the size of the business. But such implementation or such employment will be in line with what? With the Labor Relations Act. So the company will be complying with the Labor Relations Act, but somehow the company will suffer because it will be increasing its expenditure. It will be increasing its monthly expenditure simply because of compliance to, or compliance with, the Labor Relations Act.